Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen, welcome back to another episode of what was on sale at the grocery store today. And so, not sure when this video is going to come out. I've got a bit of a backlog of editing that I need to take care of. This is the first week of January, so we're in the first week back after the holidays. And today when I went to the grocery store, they had more cream still on sale. This was half price. And they had these little hams. Now, I know this is a formed ham, and it's a pale shadow of a real ham. But even so, I love them, absolutely love them. That's 1.5 kilos, so just about 3 pounds, and it was $5. So, that's going to make soup for today and for lunches the rest of the week. And it'll end up on tomorrow's dinner table with scalloped potatoes and maybe a braised cabbage or something. So, I got my pot really hot, probably too hot. I put in some bacon fat. To that I'm going to add celery and onion. And we're just going to saute that a little bit to soften them up. I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper to that as well to taste. So for $5, that ham will feed Julie and I for 4 or 5 days. Cream is half price. You don't have to use cream in this recipe. You could use regular milk. That would be fine. It would taste just fine. Next is potato. I'm going to put the potato in at this point, and that's just a mix of different potatoes that I had in the cold room. Some of them were baking potatoes, some of them were waxy potatoes. A mix. I like how they break down differently, and they bring something different to the soup. I find that all one potato doesn't please me. I like a mix of potatoes. Just like when I make other things with beans, I'll use a mix of different types of beans because they all bring different textures and flavors to the finished dish. Okay, next in goes the ham, and I've just diced that up. Get that all in the pot. And then some chicken stock. And we'll just give this a stir, and I'll put the lid on. Now, I'm really careful with how much salt I put in at the beginning. The chicken stock is going to bring some salt. The ham, definitely going to bring some salt. The bacon fat that I started with, definitely going to have some salt. So I go really easy on the salt at the beginning, and I'll taste it later on. I'm going to put the lid on this now. I'm going to bring it to a simmer, and I'm going to simmer this for maybe about a half an hour, just until the potatoes are fork tender, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, not quite ready yet, but I can start moving on. So we're going to need to thicken this soup, and I'm going to do that using a beurre manié, which is equal parts butter and flour. The idea is that the butter, you mash the butter and the flour together, so I'm going to start that process. I'll put in about half and I'll start mashing it together. The butter coats the flour, the fat coats the flour, and so when you mix it in, it doesn't clump. And so then the flour gently thickens your sauce, or your soup in this case, and the butter adds just an incredible gloss to the sauce or soup. So I just keep mashing this together until I get a nice paste formed. And this is pretty standard in French cooking for centuries. Absolutely centuries this goes back. Okay, so we've got something that looks pretty much like pie dough. Add sugar to that, and it's pie dough. I think this should be ready at this point. I'll just pull up one of the, oh yeah, the pot's hot, and the potatoes are done. So, it's going to take a little bit of the beurre manié and put it in a little bit at a time, stir it around, and it will thicken up the soup. So, put in maybe a tablespoon to start with. Maybe a tablespoon and a half. And we'll just stir that. And as the butter melts, the flour will start to thicken it. And it melts in really quickly. The potatoes are going to thicken it a little bit too. Those baking potatoes, those floury potatoes. And just keep stirring it in. And when you get to that point where you think it's not quite thick enough yet, but it's almost there, stop. Because you don't want to go too far. This is one of those situations where as it continues to cook, it will thicken more. And if you get it to the right thickness and then you cook it for another 20 minutes, it's going to be too thick. So, just one of those little things in the kitchen that you have to be mindful of, and that after you've done it a few times, it'll be second nature. So I'm going to say that looks really good to me. I'm going to leave it at that level of thickness for the moment. And I used about 2/3 of the beurre manié that I made. This last little bit, put it in a container, stick it in the freezer, and you can use it a month from now, 2 months from now. It'll keep really well in the freezer. And it's the kind of thing where you can make it ahead of time in a log. I know I've said this before. Make it in a log, wrap it up, and then just slice off pieces as you need it, so you don't have to make it every time you need it. You just go to the freezer and get some. I'm going to add in some corn, because why not? I really like corn. Broccoli, peas, edamame, all of those things are things that I would throw in this soup and really enjoy. And then the last ingredient is some cream. So I've got this container of cream, and we're going to pour that in. And in that goes, and we'll just stir it all together. This is on a very gentle heat. I'm going to put the lid on and just leave that go until Julie gets home from work.
All right, friends, Glenn convinced me that I can't just eat cookies for dinner and that we really should taste the soup.
We should have the
soup.
soup.
So we're going to try our soup and see how it goes. I mean, it looks really good, but those cookies were really good, so it's tough.
Some parsley would be really good on the top of this too, as a garnish.
Yes? I don't know. I don't know yet, maybe.
I'm thinking parsley would make a great garnish.
It looks a lot like corn soup. Like the corn soup we always make. You're smiling in that strange way that I don't know what to expect.
Okay. Give it a go.
It tastes very similar to the corn soup we usually make.
It's almost like the hot dog soup we make.
Yes, that's what I meant. I meant the hot dog soup.
The hot dog soup, yeah.
Corn and it's got corn in it, doesn't it?
Does have corn in it, yeah.
Corn and hot dogs, yeah. It has a very. That's what I was thinking. Sorry, wrong title.
So go back on the channel. There's a hot dog soup that I made on the channel, and it is a can of Campbell's mushroom soup, a can of cream of celery soup, hot dogs, onions, bacon, celery, potatoes. This is essentially that soup made from scratch with ham instead of hot dogs. But hot dogs would fit in this perfectly. Perfectly.
Yes, it would.
A little bit of hot sauce. It could stand a little bit of hot sauce, like some Frank's Red Hot or something.
Other than that, it's pretty good. It's
And a little bit of parsley on top to finish it. This is a good soup. I mean, I really like this soup.
It's not cookies, but you know.
It's not cookies. So, really easy. And if what you go to the grocery store and find tomorrow is hot dogs on sale, make this soup.
There you go.
Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon.